So I was not asking you to make a speech, but to be the person for that half of the room who has the microphone. We have time for a couple of questions. We have a microphone on each side of the room. Yes, over here.
Hi, my name is Jean Athey. Recently, I saw an interview with Andrew Bacevich, and he said that one of the problems with getting Americans to fight for peace or against war is that, quote, we have no skin in the game, by which he meant, of course, that we have a professional army and drones. Of course, we do have skin in the game, as was discussed especially by David, in terms of the huge amount of money that is going to war as opposed to our needs at home. But I haven't found that to be a very salient argument. I've found it difficult in my own work for people to see the importance of that. And so my question to you is, how do we make those connections? How do we inspire people to really work for peace when they don't see that it's affecting them?
Dennis or Leah?
Well, Leah? Okay, is this on?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I've read Bacevich's writings, and he's a pretty good writer and pretty good level of analysis. But you could look at the Friends Committee, which over the generations has done a great job in delineating what money could be used for other than the war machine. We do have so-called skin in the game. As a matter of fact, we have our men and women who serve. Their skin is literally on the line, and they have families, and so I would say that we need to do a couple things. First of all, to insist that we stop abusing the men and women of our armed services by sending them off to wars that are based on lies. That's number one. Number two, and to hold accountable in criminal court anybody who sent them there based on lies. And number three, to start to redirect the priorities of the country. It's been said many times. Every war is taking food out of people's mouths, and we're building these weapons that are neither needed nor should they ever be used. And that's what this is a call for redirecting priorities. David, you were talking about that earlier.
I would just add that the misguided notion that we should have a draft because then there would be a bigger peace movement is not borne out by history. And to have a big peace movement that can stop a war once 6 million human beings have died, which has not happened anything close since the elimination of the draft. Gets it exactly wrong. Let's not add women to the selective service to stop discriminating against them by not forcing them to sign up for mass murder. No, let's have free college.
That's a hell of a stand for equal rights, isn't it?
Let's have free college and then see how many people walk into recruiting stations. One over here.
No, it's not on.
Push the button up towards the mic.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'm delivering here a copy of Eleanor Holmes Norton's Nuclear Weapons Abolition and Economic and Energy Conversion Act, which, Dennis, you signed on to the last session that you were in Congress. And I thank you very much for doing that. And I would like to ask you why you signed on to it and whether you will actively promote it and urge other people to do so again, because it's going to have to be reintroduced in the next session.
Well, I've been long involved with a number of organizations nationally for nuclear abolition. This is not even a close question. Anyone here who ever read Jonathan Schell's Fate of the Earth understands in his discussion of nuclear winter that there aren't any winners. But to go beyond that, I did something else, too, and that is to attack this idea about the legitimacy of nuclear weapons. The United States in the past year passed a resolution, which I was able to stop twice, or for 2 years, which created 3 national parks that celebrate the creation of the of atomic weapons. People, do you know this? Yeah. So who knows? Who's heard about it? Anybody? Yeah. So we're celebrating. This is in our culture. We should have never let that happen, as I pointed out, because what it does is it goes back to a discussion of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which should have never happened, which is a horrific event in world history. And it's a way of secretly legitimatizing the use of atomic weapons. So, yes, I'm glad Eleanor Holmes Norton is taking leadership in that. I certainly support that and urge those who are in the Congress to support it.
Do we have one more over here? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Geraldine Stapleton, and I'm Southern California coordinator for the Peace Alliance. Karen Johnson, who is part of our National Committee for creating a U.S. Department of Peace, designed this beautiful pin called Peace Pioneer. And we would like to give it to the original Peace Pioneer. So if I may, I'd like to pin it on you.
Yay. Been a long time since I was pinned. But
Do we have one more over on this side? Yeah, go ahead.
Dennis, you started by reminding us that we are a global village, and yet we are divided by these nation states. We have a monster at the heart of our government, but perhaps the problem is even deeper than that. Perhaps it's the very concept of a nation itself. The United Nations can't get from here to there. It too is built on the idea of that it is legitimate, that we are divided by these lines in the sand around the territory of our states. So
a little bit louder, and what's the question?
The question is this a rabbit hole, or should we really be taking seriously the idea that to have a world beyond war, we need a world beyond states?
Did everyone hear that? If we're talking about a world beyond war, what about a world beyond states? I mean, this actually was the prayer that John Lennon had in his song Imagine. Imagine there's no countries. There really is a serious question here about that is arising about the legitimacy of the structure of the nation state itself. Human unity requires that we start to recognize a world not as a one-world econotechnic system, but as a world where there are social needs that are common. And so this idea of insisting on national boundaries, how does that work with global climate, with the challenge of the global climate? It doesn't work with matters of human security. So we need to start readjusting our thinking on that. And as we do, that is another path towards coming to a reconciliation with people globally. But yeah, we are all, in this room, we are global citizens. I'm proud to have served in the United States Congress, but I'm a global citizen as well. And I don't place the needs of people anywhere on this planet beneath the needs of people anywhere in our country. We have to start seeing ourselves as interconnected and interdependent, and as we do that, we create a different condition which is conducive to peace.
Leah, did you want to comment?
Yes, I just wanted to add that, as... Oh, is it on? Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that, that's some of what Dennis was talking about, that we have, there's no way to divide, a disease from saying, oh, that's just going to stay in one country, or climate change, which affects everyone. And we have to get rid of this idea of American exceptionalism, that everything belongs to us. And so this is, other people have rights to clean air and water and their own resources as well. So we really have to start thinking this as a global community, as Dennis said.
After the next session, we have a scheduled break. So those who can, and this next session has some of the best speakers of this whole conference coming up right now. So if you can't sit silently in this moment, please have your discussions outside after a round of applause for Dennis Kucinich and Leah Bolger.
Thank you. Thank you. You can sign up at Kucinich.com. Thanks.